I'm going to wait for one moment for my moderator to come in. Let's see, I'm reading the chat. So questions that you have that you want answered, we're going to put in the Q&A. The chat, do whatever you want to do. People can chat with each other. I've opened it up so that you can talk with each other or with the whole group. I have weathered the storm. I hope everybody's doing well too. Really, really fun. Super easy. Southwest changed my flights. They made it a lovely trip back from Orlando. We got to see Florida State, Florida Southern, Florida Institute of Technology. So it was nice. And it's okay that we can't save the chat because we're going to have the important Q&As in the Q&A. But thank you, Michelle. So I've got that. So put any questions in the Q&A. All right. I can't see. Somebody's got their hand up. I can't manage this. So Emily's going to manage that part of it. And I'm going to get started because it's nice. It's late for some of you. So let me go ahead and move her up to a panelist. We'll get to see her and we'll get started. All right, Emily, do you want to go ahead and just get started? There you are. Hi. Okay. Can't hear you. It's the word of the year. You're on mute.
Yep, I wasn't a second ago. Hold on, everyone. I had my little introduction over here. Okay. Well, welcome everyone to another IEC Super Strategy session. I feel like I was just here, and I think we were in another session, but here we are. So tonight I am your moderator, and I'll be helping your host by monitoring the chat window and possibly interjecting with comments. Today's session will last about 30 minutes. That's the plan. Our host today is Lee Norwood of Annapolis College Consulting. And for those of you not familiar with Lee, allow me to give you a brief bit of information. Lee is a successful entrepreneur and a published author with 2 bachelor's degrees in business marketing and English from Elon University. She's also an active member of IECA and has chosen, active member of IECA. That's all I wanted to say on that sentence. This evening, Lee is going to talk with us about how to get students to become involved in activities that change lives. We've had tremendous success getting our students engaged, that is Annapolis College Consulting, and thinking of themselves as entrepreneurs. The level of creativity necessary has skyrocketed in the time of COVID, and we challenged our kids to answer this question: what will be your hashtag post-COVID story? So Lee is going to show some examples and brainstorming activities that will get them to find themselves and help their world at the same time and differentiate themselves in the college process. There you go, Lee.
Thank you so much. So welcome, everybody. I'm going to go backwards here. Getting good at this, not as good as I thought. How come there we go. So this is activities that change lives. What we've been able to do, what I think that we've done, some of the best work that we've done is really engaged our students to get them to do things to solve a problem. If they see a problem, how can they solve it? If they're a lifeguard and they find that the trash cans are constantly full, is there a recycling program they could start at the pool? Different things like that. So just going on in their normal lives and doing things that we think all teenagers should do, which is have fun in the summer, right? They're kids, but look for opportunities in your world to make your world, your part of the world, a little bit better. So that's really where this came from. I am going to spend tonight quickly going over some of our success stories. This is not to brag. This is just to show you how we've had some kids really rise to the occasion. And, you know, there are no original ideas. So take these, steal, run with it. We all are here to help bring the best students we can into college and into the world. So here are our top tips. Work within their wheelhouse and listen when they talk. You'll never have a better opportunity if you're just listening to what they say to find out something that really makes them excited or really gets them going. You could talk with them with their parents in the room forever and they're just struggling with what a neat activity would be. But then if you just have a regular conversation with them, you find out some of their interests. I'm a huge advocate of the fact that you don't need to spend any money to make an impact. You don't need to buy into a $4,000 summer program. Now, there's a caveat to this. Of course, if you need a research opportunity and you've got a student who's very highly selective, going to very highly selective schools and needs research, let's put those kids over here. Let's just talk about, you know, our kids that need to do something to kind of round out and make their, I guess, their lives as creative and as amazing, and they can give back to their community. And then that will fall in line with a good college application. But we're not going to lead with doing an activity just to put it on a college application. So that's something that we do. If you push them to rise to the occasion, I promise you they will. We teach basic ways to promote whatever they're doing, if they've got a business or an activity or a charity idea, and I'll show you how we do that here. Our kids leave knowing how to write a press release and knowing how to reach out to local press to get coverage. And they've learned to self-advocate, which I think is a really cool life skill. We'll talk a little bit about using local businesses to help you with your students. We've been successful with that. We started something called Mentor Match with our local Chamber of Commerce, and I'll talk to you about that. And then the best thing about all of this is you just get to watch them soar. When they get a little bit of recognition, these kids just soar. They take it and they run. I love it. So what I thought I would do today is share with you my Lifestream digital account. And you may say, some of you might know what that is, and others of you may not know what that is, but it's the way that I stay organized. And it's the way that most of our kids are able to stay organized by really helping them keep in line what things they're doing and what attributes these things are showing about who they are. So can you guys see this? My Lifestream box, is it up? Okay, so this is my memory box, and I'm not going to tell you about the memory box. I'm going to go right into the memories, but I use this to help kids see what great things they can do. And in here in the life skills and character traits, I'm going to go over 4, maybe 5 examples of things that we've done with our students that got creative. So the first student right here, I'm going to go into her COVID project. We asked everybody, what's your post-COVID story going to be? And it's not going to be that you have blisters on your thumbs from playing Xbox really well, right? Your post-COVID story is, what were you able to do in this year that served us a really sour plate of food? How did you turn it into a positive? And what did you do in a time where a lot of kids weren't doing anything? So you really could stand apart. So here is Regan, and Regan got into Boston College. She's very excited about that. And you can look over here to the right and see that she got to write down in her digital memory box, and then she shares with us all of the things that she was doing. She figured out a way to take a surgical mask, because her dad's a surgeon, and turn it into something that works well in the OR during a time of COVID. This was really, really unique. She made a workshop in her basement, and she was able to, we worked together to find someone who would donate a 3D printer to be able to take these masks that were already there. And her dad was coming home with all the, lines on his face and everything, and not able to be in surgery for as long as he needed to be. And she was able to take those masks and retrofit a piece that she printed on this 3D printer right here, and turn those surgical masks into something that her dad could do so that he could go to work and save more lives. What we also did after she had this great idea, it was her idea, and then we decided how are we going to implement it. Well, then I thought, well, your dad can't, and his patients can't be the only people who know about this, Regan. So I had her write a press release, and we taught her how to do it. She wrote this herself, this whole press release, and sent pictures. Here she is retrofitting the mask. Here she is working on it again. And that turned into, and we're able to save it right here. Here's what this press release turned into. It's really cool stuff, you guys. This is just the best way for me to show it to you. The Severna Park Voice, our local paper, covered it. She got to get this because she was covered. They gave it to her in this beautiful format. And here is the article for Regan that was in the paper. So just really nice bit of press coverage that she got for doing this hard work, and very, very excited for her. And she did have great results because, as you can see, her mom's also a cake baker, and she got into Boston College. So that's example number 1. Example number 2, this is my personal favorite, and I'm just going to be very honest with you guys. I mean, this is a safe space. This was one of my kids who was kind of a vanilla ice cream cone, right? Like, He was choosing the usual suspects of schools that all his friends chose. And how are we going to differentiate him? And I'm this close to really hoping that he chooses to go to an entrepreneurial college. But this is called Beyond the Bay. The great thing about this work was that I started working with Chase. He and his friend, you can see right here, they decided to start something called Beyond the Bay and raise money for the Chesapeake Bay Foundation so that they could clean up the waterways where we play. So we're very fortunate here. We play in the rivers, the kids are boating, and that's just part of their lifestyle. Well, this was my client here. He brought his friend over and I helped them both put this together. And guess what? I ended up with 2 clients. And the girl's mom has now referred me 3 more clients. So not only did we put together an activity that helped them change lives, it helped change my business a little bit. So what these kids did, I talked to them a little bit about the Chesapeake Bay Foundation and how that's such a big organization. Is a couple $1,000s really going to float their boat, right? Wink, wink. But the Magathie River Association and the Severn River, which are the rivers that we're on, they would love to have a couple $1,000s. They could do so much with it. So we connected these kids with the river keeper of the Severn River and the Magathie River. They talked about how they were going to go about doing this. And then they were going to make some t-shirts. Those t-shirts that, you bought at college, they're itchy and they're champion and you bought them just because that's all there was. Well, we thought about that together and said, let's make a t-shirt that people really want to wear. Let's build a brand and do something a little bit different. So I sent these 2 kids down to a friend of mine's. He opened a local business and it is called, let me see if I can find it in here. I'll find it in a second. It's called Brackish Life. You know how we have Lake Life and we have Salt Life. Well, this is Brackish Life. I called Kyle and said, hey, I've got 2 entrepreneurial kids. Can I send them down to you? And will you just tell them what it takes to print and sell a t-shirt? They're going to come with a business plan. So sure enough, I had them write up a press release. I had them go down to him. They learned an elevator pitch, which that's just not language kids these ages use anymore. They don't talk about elevator pitches, but they went down and here they are. They drove an hour and a half to Easton, Maryland and met with Kyle and his mom in their store. This is them inside the Brackish Life store. And guess what came out of it? Kyle gave them tons of great ideas. And he said that he would print all their shirts at his cost. So now we have this really cool brand. This is Baylor, the dog, because we're on the bay, get it? For Beyond the Bay. T-shirts are very, very high quality, and they've partnered with a local business. They did a photo shoot. Here's the Bay Bridge, if any of you guys are from this area, and here's their company name. So let me show you some things that we did with that. And I get to save all this stuff in here. Is this not going to come up? Oh, you know what? I bet this was Brackish Life. This is Brackish Life, which is the company that we worked with. You can see right here, it says Brackish Life, that they went down and met with. So that was one thing that they did. The next thing was, this was great. They did their Beyond the Bay press release. This was a challenge to get these kids to write it. Now we have to remember, we started with a vanilla ice cream cone and someone who wasn't a client, and they have sold they've raised over $5,000. Here's the press release that they wrote. And it's nice because it's saved right in here. They have a wonderful Instagram post that their friends follow. And they were just featured in Chesapeake Life. So we had them reach out to all the local news around here. And to be in Chesapeake Life, that was a really great thing. Their parents were thrilled. It was an activity that's really close to their heart. They're cleaning the waterway where they play. And oh, guess what? Now they've got a whole feature in Chesapeake Family Life. And then, of course, they were on Chesapeake Family Life's website. And that's just always exciting to see yourself doing cool things and to see the press pick it up. Let's see what the next thing is here. There's so much in this one. I just love this. But what ended up happening is now these students, here's their Instagram feed, that here's Baylor, the dog, and some of the pictures that they took. They've started a company. They've built a brand. It also is a charity. Like I see Babson and, I just would love to send them there. Bentley. I just think they would fit so well. But both of these kids are doing really well. They're getting into their schools right now. We don't know where they're going to end up going. But this just turned into an amazing thing. And then one thing that we were able to do out of it was our local magazine here in Annapolis. Is called What's Up. You guys might have one where you live. What's Up magazine loved that we were sending in information about the kids, and they gave us an opportunity, a free sponsored spread here. I did the college journey, the top 12 things colleges look for. I followed IECA's top 12 list, but I got to feature them there along with lots of other things. This is one of our girls who did some incredible research. She's at MIT right now, talked about what colleges look for a student. We also featured one of our students from Virginia. Here he is. They went, his mom was in textiles. I did not know what he wanted to do. He wants to play football, and football in a time of COVID is tough. So we talked a lot about what he could do. Well, because his mom has connections in India, she was able to source 10 out-of-work tailors in India. This student started a GoFundMe and raised $3,000. They used that $3,000 to pay these out-of-work tailors in India and put them to work. Of course, his mom used her textile connections to get the equipment for the masks. And these tailors made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of masks. And then they started making lip reading masks with the clear right here. And they donated them to homeless shelters for the hearing impaired. Like, wow. Really, really cool stuff. This guy's making a difference. It's called Stronger Together now. And now this year, what he's doing, because he's a junior, he is adding more kids into his team, because he kept saying, well, what else should I do? And you guys know, like we know, you want to do fewer things, but deeper and really well. And they want to see that you're consistent and you're doing things over and over. So now he's growing a team, probably a lot of his football player friends, but they're really doing something different, making a mark. And guess what? They did something on 2 continents. They put people to work and they help people in the time of COVID. So that one was really neat. And this was just a piece that we got to put in to the local paper because we were sending so many cool samples of what our kids were doing into our local news venues. So that is Beyond the Bay. Do we have any questions? Does anybody need me to go faster, slower? I'm going to show you 2 more examples.
We do have a question, Lee.
Okay.
Where'd it go? So Jennifer's asking, by the way, she said it's very inspiring, but how many hours does it take on your part to help create and see these projects through? I guess that's going to have to be a rough.
Okay, so that's an interesting thing. You know, I think we all have strengths. I call myself a crock pot. You just got to give me the ingredients, and in a night or 2, something will bubble up into an idea. So I do think that on one hand, I'm a little bit gifted in that I love my creativity, and that's why I love this business, because we can be creative and we can be outside of the box. After being 23 years in pharma, where I kept getting put back in the box and I kept crawling out and they kept pulling me back into the box. Now I don't even have to see the box anymore, and it's awesome. So I get a lot out of that. But after I do 2 more examples, I'm going to show you some ways that you can start percolating ideas for your kids and how you can use your local community to do that. And then you can always call me, because I love doing stuff like this. And once you start doing it, it starts to roll. Here's another great one. Look at this. These are boys. Like girls are a little bit easier as far as getting creative in their maturity level. These are 3 examples I'm showing you with boys at the helm. This one is called the Wear It campaign. We had a student, his name was Parker, and Parker just wanted to be a lifeguard in the summer. He's on his boat all the time. That's his thing. He likes to listen to music and he likes to be on his boat. Well, we were just talking about, there he is, some different things with Parker. And we both started to notice that no one likes to wear their life jacket on a boat. And it's a really important thing to do. And then we were also giggling that since we have boats, we don't really want kid-sized life jackets because we don't really want little kids on our boats. So we're giving them away, right? We've got these great life jackets that haven't been beat up because they're younger kids and kids grow so fast. We all have garages full of life jackets. So what Parker did was he made a box and he put it right next to his lifeguard chair. And all summer he collected life jackets. Well, the stars aligned and it was Boater Safety Month. Who knew? We didn't know. We didn't plan it that way, but it worked out. And the head of Boater Safety Month, we had Parker reach out to her, and she started this with the National Safe Boating Week a safe boating campaign. And he had a whole spread. This is where he's gotten in so far: Delaware, NC State, Maryland, and Penn State. Those are his letters. His dad is really, really thrilled. And Parker just jumped on this. He was also chosen. This is what is so cool. We made him write a press release. They don't like it at first, but then they get stuff like this. He was made Teen of the Week in our local paper, and this is the Capitol. So this is even broader paper than some of the others that you saw. So here's Parker, talked about how he engineered, and he wants to go into engineering, a great way to get kids to wear their life jackets. So here it is. There was a lovely spread right in the Capitol. That made Parker proud. He rose to the occasion. He started doing even more things. And I don't know if this one's going to come up as a video or not, but I'll send you the video if you want to. No, that's still him. What they did was, we have a drown proofing program. And in the drown proofing program, they now have a video, and Parker is featured in that video, and he says, wear it. And that went out to the entire, here it is right here, environmental literacy and drown proofing. This isn't a live link, but he is the Anne Arundel County school system wearing your lifeguard champion. So that was something really neat. So now we took a kid who wanted to be a lifeguard, and gosh, that's a cool thing to be all summer. And we turned it into him being able to change lives, and then into making it cool to wear a life jacket. And now his project is going to live on because this video goes out to everybody. Here's the Anne Arundel County School logo here. What's nice is when we put it in here, I can remember that it was volunteer work. It was a special project, all of the different pieces and what attributes he used to do this. So as we build these over time, the kids don't forget. Everybody forgets. Your parents have to then remind you how great you were in 9th grade, right? When you finally get to be a senior. So this is really neat. This was a very special one for me. And again, this kid just rose to the occasion. It was just so impressive. Some others that I am happy to share with you. I'm going to just breeze over them really quickly, and then we'll do some Q&A, and I can pop back in here if you want to. The complete player was an ex-Orioles player who started a program called Youth Empowerment, and he meets with kids. And even during COVID, he was having these kids, lower income kids, coming in for after school program. And a few of our students would go there and meet with those children and tutor them. So we loved working with the complete player. And you get to hang out with a Baltimore Oriole. I mean, that's kind of neat too. So that made a really nice story. Another one, Leveling the Playing Field, is a group in Baltimore. This was my daughter's program, and my daughter's now a sophomore. She found it because she had to do a project in high school. And it's a group in Baltimore that takes gently used sporting equipment and then gives it to schools and teams so that they can field a team. A lot of times the kids don't have the money to field a whole team of lacrosse players. She just did some collections in people's driveways. We called them driveway dumps. And then we did one at homecoming in high school, and so much, just everybody wants their garage cleaned. That's how it started. Go clean the garage, get all those cleats out of here. How many pairs of this? How many field hockey sticks can we possibly have? That's where the idea came from. She found this group. Well, now we're on our 3rd year of sending kids to the same program. So every year we send 3 or 4 of our kids to work with Leveling the Playing Field. And this year, this student here made it a little bit different because he decided to connect with a local, really cool shop for consignment, and he got to put his box outside of the consignment shop. So that's people who are already getting rid of things, right? And now they go to the consignment shop, and we didn't get press with this one, but everybody who went to the consignment shop knew exactly what he was doing. And it's measured by, they give a dollar value for each piece of equipment that you turn in. And then this box here lives in perpetuity right up the street at a sports complex. So now this project has legs and legacy because it's there all the time. So that one was one that we as a company use over and over. And then I will show you Burgers and Bands a little bit later. And then Depart Share, another boy. His mom owns a short-term rental business in Annapolis. He didn't know he's in an IB program, overwhelmed, really great kid, but not really sure what to do for activities. But guess what he does for work all summer? He cleans the apartments and the homes that the people stay in when his mom rents them for short term. And we all know that we don't use all of the toilet paper we bought. We maybe never opened that jar of pickles when we traveled, that we knew we were going to make Bloody Marys, but we never did. I said, what do you do with all that stuff that's left? He designed a brown paper shopping bag. It actually has our logo on it and this logo. And he collects this and takes it to local homeless shelters. So he's already doing that work. He's already cleaning these houses for his mom. Now what he's getting to do is give back to the community. And when you arrive at one of her places, the bag is there with a letter that says anything that you have not used. If you choose to leave it in this bag, it will go to our Lighthouse shelter here in Annapolis. So really just a unique way to take what's already in their wheelhouse and what they're already doing, and a little effort to yield really big results. And what a great story, right? Now he has something to talk about in his essays. So I'm going to pop back over to my main screen and answer any questions anybody may have.
We have a ton of questions, Lee. They're piling up, so get ready.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see. The first one I have, I'm going to go back to the beginning and try to get people in order so that they don't get lost and shuffle here. So Jen had a great question about brainstorming. How in the world do you start the brainstorming process with students, particularly those that might be a little slow to jump into this thing?
We go slow. We just go slow, and we talk a lot. And I think it's the one-on-one when their parents aren't there. Before COVID, we would do a lot of meeting after school at a coffee house or something if it was close to walk to. And I really just got to know these kids. I think I speak teenager, which might help a little bit. And we just talk about what they like to do, what other kids have done. And, you know, there's kids sometimes that they're not going to get there. So you hand them something. I'm going to show you another example in a minute, but you hand them something like leveling the playing field, right? And then you got a parent with a clean garage, check the box, they're happy. You've got a kid who's walking into a program that's already been created, but it's a new story. And we had one that went into the leveling the playing field and decided to make it broader. And he focused just on hula hoops and bikes. He forwent the kids who were actually playing on the teams and went to the little kids who have to go and watch their big brothers and sisters play. And he just focused, I think, on scooters, bikes, and hula hoops. So I hope that answers your question. We just talk and listen.
It takes a lot of work, I'm sure, back and forth and many times talking about it and getting them reminders and things like that. Maybe you can take one more right now, and they are
Absolutely.
We're going to try to get to all of them, everyone. I can see you're putting in a whole lot of really great questions, but Lauren was next, and I hope I didn't butcher your name. Asking, do you mind speaking to what resources you use to teach students about press releases?
Absolutely. She's very inexpensive, and she's one of my favorite people, and her name is Google. I just Google it. I Google how to write a press release, and I read through it and make sure that it's right. Because, you know, press releases have changed over time, but not a whole lot. And I just send them a link and tell them to do it. Because, you know, there are some students who will let you do it for them. And I was one of those students, because I had Anne, who's so patiently over here waiting, and she'll probably have a lot of questions for her. But, you know, I asked her to help me put this together just for this meeting. And now I'm so excited because I have something now I can showcase to more and more families. But she did it for me. And that's not free. But sometimes, you know, you just have to, you do what you can do, right? You do what you're really good at and work out the rest. Did I answer that question? I have jet lag.
No, yes, yeah, absolutely. You're doing great. This is awesome. Do you want to take another one, or do you want to keep going?
I'll take another one, and then I'm going to share my screen and finish up, and then we can take all of them. And I am recording this for people who weren't sure.
So this is one that I don't know. Well, it wouldn't surprise me if you knew the answer to this, but Sabra asked, did you add meta tags to the articles? What was that because the article appeared online? Or actually, Anne answered that. Did you answer that, Anne? You did.
Awesome.
Yeah, so the tags that you're seeing that were in these projects that she had for her students are actually live stream tags. And you can tag that regardless of whether they're actually an online piece or whether you scanned it in or it's a video or anything else. So those are all live stream tags to help you identify and remember what was important about it, the life skills, character traits, as Lee showed you, as well as, the tactical, was it math, was it science, other or art or any other talent or skill that they see.
You kind of went in and out. I don't know if Anne went in and out for everybody else.
Yes, a
You
little.
know, I always have trouble on Zoom with my speaker. So I apologize, but I don't have, there's no dial-in for here. So, but hopefully you can hear me now because I'm moving closer to my microphone.
Mhm.
So all the tags and live stream are live stream tags is the bottom line that Lee showed you. And it is regardless of whether it's a video or online, whether it's online or you scanned it in or anything else.
Yeah, and after I get through my couple of slides, we'll go back to, I'll pull up the live stream and then I'll toggle around and show you what we're talking about. But if you meant meta tags at any other level that's like digital and social media, I have no idea. No.
Okay, one more quick one, okay?
Okay.
Susanna, again, I hope I pronounced your name right. Had a really quick question about how did you have all of those good logos created? Where'd they all come from, Lee?
Well, I can't tell you where they all came from, but I can tell you where you can get yours done. I am a huge fan of Fiverr. Fiverr was a site that was started, it's Fiverr, and you go on and you put your gig up, right? So my gig might have been, I need a simple logo for a company that's doing this, and then you'll get a few bids. It was called Fiverr because they had to be $5. They have to have a $5 offer. It usually ends up being 25 or 40. But you'll even see my new logo for something else we're doing. I just did on Fiverr and it cost me $40. So that's where I would suggest that you go. But some of the other ones like Baylor, the dog, and Beyond the Bay, those kids did them themselves. So the one girl is able to now also use that in her portfolio because she is going into design. So there's a win-win-win all the way around. And she was able to, all of my kids are offered the live stream, and I encourage them to load stuff up, and anywhere it says, do you have a digital resume? We click yes, because maybe it won't get looked at, but if it does, we're buying 5 more extra minutes on their application, and 5 extra minutes is priceless. So that's kind of how we spun that. But for a logo, you don't have a brother who's in graphic design, and I do. So I would go to Fiverr. Sound good? Okay. Yep. So here's some other ways that you guys can do this yourself. I joined our local Chamber of Commerce. I did not join it to get business at all. I joined it because when COVID started, I thought, okay, we have local businesses here full of lawyers, full of doctors, full of accountants. These kids need to know, we're asking them what they want to be when they grow up, and they're 17. That's not fair. My thought was, let's get these local businesses to take our kids in as interns so they can practice and see what happens in an accountant's office. So I was able to do a chat with our chamber, and then I joined, like, they have a women's group, and then they have all these different subgroups, but I was actually able to meet with the whole chamber. We called it Mentor Match, and I used Canva, and I know somebody did one of these strategy sessions on Canva, used Canva to make up a flyer that then was attached to the bottom of every chamber announcement that went out for the next month. And it wasn't about promoting my business. It was about helping them promote their business and getting to use kids. So we had one lawyer who he does for pro bono. He does all the community associations, like when you pay your community dues, he does that for free. Wow, he was so excited to have someone who thought they wanted to go into law that could just take kind of the paperwork and the Q&A off of his plate for that piece of his business that he was doing pro bono. So that was really unique. People who run charities will come on. There's a lot of people who want kids to do social media for them, but working with the chamber brought opportunities to me. And then what do I do with those? I post them on my Facebook page. It says wanted student to do da 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 da, and then honestly, it's between the parent and the student and the business. I don't get in the middle of that. I present the opportunity. That way I kind of stay out of it, but my idea is let's present these kids with tons of opportunities, and they could take them or leave them. And that's gone really well. We had one woman who started a business. She bought a business and she decorated the outside of people's homes just for the holidays. So like lights and whatever celebration. She wanted someone to be able to take the design and then go to the site and boss the people around. No, the Santa goes here, the tree goes here. I personally can't afford to have anyone decorate my home, but some people can. And she went, and so she was a crew supervisor, right? Because she helped develop the concept and then went out on site and made sure everything was where it needed to be. So really cool things came out of this mentor match that we set up. And I even got invited to talk to the school system with it. But then that got to that litigious space, and I don't do that. I just want to make the match and kind of walk away. So I'm a little bit of the matchmaker. Other things are local charities. We work with different charities. Annapolis Green is one. We had, it was called, well, we got rid of all the straws. So we had students going around to the restaurants saying, here are 2 cases of paper straws, and here are table tents to put on your tables, asking your patrons to not use straws. And if they want straws, would they use these paper straws? So that was last year's project. This year's project was something like, But It Matters, BUTT. And 3 different times they went down around downtown Annapolis and picked up the cigarette butts, because apparently they are way worse and way more plentiful than straws in the water. So they got to be a part of that. So our kids that are kind of eco-friendly, we hook them up with Annapolis Green. They're always doing something. Sometimes it's electric cars, and they love extra hands. The Magathie River Association, I talked to you about that earlier, the tutoring. And then I have Burgers and Bands and Our Minds Matter, which is something I want to show you next. So here are some of our other opportunities just for you to be thinking. So I know several of you guys know Moira with College Scoops, right? She's amazing. Well, this right here is my daughter. My daughter is a ambassador for her. Why? Because she got to answer all these great questions about NC State, and then Moira sent her these like amazing blondie brownie cookie things, and she got to share them with her hall and became very popular freshman year. And I've been trying to get the recipe from Moira, and she won't give it to me. But my daughter wants to go to grad school, and she needs to keep chasing these what am I doing kind of extra activities. She did the real scoop about COVID in college with Moira. So now my daughter has this to have on her resume for when she goes to the next level. So just using someone right within our industry, she wanted to talk to somebody who would be honest about COVID and how it affected her freshman year. And it was a win-win. And then I have all these logos up. But Rock the Vote. This one I loved. How many of you guys had seniors this year that halfway through the summer still hadn't done anything ground shaking, and you knew it was time to start applying? If you're raising your hand, that's great. Here's what happens. All the hands. It was an election year. So what did we do? We teamed up with Rock the Vote, and we teamed up with Power the Polls. We had kids whose parents would let them sitting in polling booths, right? We had them using their social media to go out and tell all their friends to vote, because a lot of them were 18. We had them constantly using their social media to bring up different, oh my gosh, a tree just fell on my roof. Sorry. Wow. We had them doing that. And then I think it was 8 kids, and we called them Team Vote. And we took a local representative of the Democratic Party right from here locally, and one from the Republican Party. And these kids quizzed them on what an 18-year-old needed to care about for this year's election, right? And these are delegates that are coming up for election every 2 years. So now we've got local kids knowing who's running. One is running, Rachel Munoz, and one's already in, Heather Bagnall. They loved being on a panel. We Zoomed it, we recorded it. I have it up on our YouTube site if you want to watch it. It's not like super fancy dancy, but they were proud of it, and they were able to send it out to their friends. And it was really cool to see what issues these kids were interested in and to see where that impact could be made based on what the different candidates were talking about. So that was something that for all my late bloomers, they were on team vote and they made huge amounts of strides with their activities just in that 3-month period. So you got to kind of look at the activities like that, what can fit where. And then here's my passion. We are actually the Led Zeppelin sponsor of Burgers and Bands. It's a local Burgers and Bands for suicide prevention. It's my charity of choice. I love it. We have all these bands that these kids are in, and we have a lot of local musicians around Annapolis. We're kind of like, I would like to say we're a little Austin, but I'm not sure if we're that good yet, but we're getting there. And this is a family friendly event. I get to MC it, so I get a lot of mic time. I donate a couple hours of my services for the silent auction. And what has come out of this, it happens twice a year at 2 different locations. It's super fun. But a group of the kids got together and started their own Our Minds Matter group and took it to the high school. So now we brought mental health to the forefront. Did I plan any of this? No, it just happened. This is in my wheelhouse and what I'm passionate about. I can only do one charity. You know, we're all really super busy, but it turned into something really cool. And here are the pictures from it. This is our local high school. We wrote a check for $2,000 to support their mental health causes. Here's some of the really cool local artists that are there every year. There's me. This was a longer picture, but this is Kelly Bell. I don't know if you guys are in the music scene, but the Kelly Bell Band is really pretty famous around here and up and down the East Coast. They are always our signature group. And then we have the kids. This girl right here has the most magnificent voice you've ever heard. So it's family friendly. It's outside. Everything about it is positive. And I had 3 students this year that came from that event. And then here's the Led Zeppelin sponsors. I'm here with great company. And there we are right there. So I don't know. It warms my heart. It's easy to do. And I get a lot of exposure from it. So what are the results from all of this? You help kids exceed their own expectations. They use critical thinking. They learn to write. They learn to present. They learn to solve problems. We just simply exchange ideas and see what happens. And we have really happy parents and really inspired kids. And then we have a hashtag, post-COVID story. That's all I've got. That's me. I'm calling it giving forward and giving back. And this is Anne with Lifestream. She's on. We can open it up for questions. I'm here to hang out. I'm good to answer anything. And I'm sure some people have some questions about Lifestream, but I wanted to put up her information.
So, Anne, do you want to talk first, or should we answer the questions and then go to you? How do you want to?
Lee has so many questions. I think she should probably take the lead, and I'm happy to also then answer thereafter, and people can contact me as well. But I think Lee should answer the questions that are there.
Okay, and you're definitely featured in one of the questions, Anne. Direct question to you coming up. So, all right, Allison is wondering. Let's see if I can find her question again. Are you initiating the idea to do an activity like this? Or are they asking you for suggestions for the summer or to round out their resumes?
Yes to both. Yes to both.
Okay, well, that's pretty simple. Next, we have Leah. Not sure I caught the hours that she spends with each kid or how she organizes her time commitment to each project. So if you just clarify that again real quick about how many hours do you spend with each kid, if you have an idea?
So the way that my pricing goes, I'm one price no matter when you start. So I'm not tracking hours. So if that's kind of where that's coming from, I don't know how I would answer that piece of it. I will say that I throw everything back on them. They check in with me and I find myself reminding them of things. And if I have an opportunity, like just happen to know a guy who owns a t-shirt company, making that call, but then all I did was make sure that Caitlin and Chase asked their parents and got in a car and went down to meet him. I didn't do anything else. So it wasn't that much time that I spent with them, but I also find that I get really excited and I love to see their success. And I couldn't even put a price on that piece of it. But I think my pricing is probably what makes that a little bit easier because I'm a flat fee.
Okay, Catherine wants you to know how thankful she is for providing these realistic ideas, especially for kids who are dragging their feet. They seem very doable, so she's appreciative. But she also wants to know, do you now have established partnerships with businesses in your area? I think that would be a yes. Or maybe
Well,
not partnerships.
yeah. So I just kind of know who's had good results from our kids. And I threaten the kids that if they don't do a good job, I know where they live. I'm kidding. It's just different people. Like, will I go back to that lawyer and see if I have another student who wants to do something with law? Yes, I'll tap back into him, but he might be done. One might have been enough. You never know. But the charities, yes, they're not official partnerships, but I send any student who's interested in our environment to just look at Annapolis Green, all of their activities that they're doing, tell me the ones they like, and then I make a call to those girls and say, hey, I've got another one for you. So I have places I kind of like to go often, and also with the Level the Playing Field. Every year we send kids there, and that's been just a legacy project that's been for 3 years now, but nothing formal.
Okay, Layla is asking, was all the work with the chamber virtual?
Yes. I just started with the chamber last year, probably. I think we were in COVID when I decided to join, because they kept saying join. And I thought, I don't know, how would I, if I join this and I spend the money to be in the chamber, how do I want to use that? And I realized quickly that I wanted to use it in a different way than a lot of people use the chamber. I wanted to present them with something I could offer to them and to their businesses. If I get business out of it, doesn't matter to me, but I do like finding, the more you're out and about with that chamber, you start to meet those entrepreneurs and the people that are in the businesses that our kids are thinking about. And then I'm giving them something rather than asking for something from them.
Along with that, Julie's asking, how did you pitch this to the chamber? Now that's part of Lee's magic, I got to tell you, but go ahead if you have any tips, Lee.
My dad calls every time we're doing one of these webinars. How did I pitch it to them? I just said to them, look, we're in the middle of COVID. I've only got 30 kids who don't know what they're going to do. In the school system, we've got thousands of kids. We have got to pull together as a community. These businesses, rising tide lifts all ships. I now remember exactly what I said. We have got to support each other, and we have got to bring opportunities to these kids because stuff is going away, and let's all work together, and it's a win-win. I mean, you get free labor, they get an experience, and you've helped your local community. And I think that was the way that I spun it. And yeah. And I think it's because I didn't ask, I was giving, and you always get more when you're giving. I was coming to the table with 20 kids who were chomping at the bit to do something creative and unique.
Okay, we have 2 more questions here, and then I think we should go to, I believe it was Marissa that asked about Lifestream. So Laura is asking, are those paid or unpaid internships?
My kids have never gotten paid. None of them have been paid.
Great. And then thank you, Jennifer, for your comment. Karen has a very interesting one. Okay, this seems like you use a lot of time. Are your kids in packages, and how much time on average does this take you? Actually, I think we already went over that and I read the wrong one. This Q&A thing keeps popping up and down. So sorry, everyone, that's my fault. Okay, Karen actually asked, besides playing a role as a matchmaker, how much are you involved in directing your students' projects? Do you charge by package or by hour to guide them? I think you went over that, but.
Yeah, so I'm one fee regardless, and they're all different. Like that Leveling the Playing Field, that's a well-established charity in Baltimore. I show them examples of what the kids have done before and tell them to go run with it, right? So that one, as soon as I tell their parents that they can clean the garage and get rid of all the sports equipment, it just takes on a life of its own. I don't do anything. With Beyond the Bay, that project was really close to my heart. I fell in love with both of those kids, And I was in it way more than I'm in it with a lot of others because I loved it and I wanted to direct them. You know, they wanted to give 10% of what they earned to the Chesapeake Bay Foundation. Well, I know that that's going to be like $40, right? So I had to teach them to say, you give 100% of your profits. Let's look at what profits are. So I took it as an opportunity to kind of teach them, but they did it. That one I was in more because I love it. And I'm sponsoring Burgies, which are the flags you fly on your boats. Next year, I'm sponsoring the Burgies. So people from around here hopefully will be flying their flags. So yeah, I was in that one a little bit more than most. They do it themselves.
Okay, so I think, and I have to apologize because I don't know exactly. I thought I saved Marissa's message, but I'm pretty sure she's the one who asked about Lifestream, and now Susanna is too. So maybe we should cut to Anne.
Okay, great. So thank you so much. So overall, Lifestream Digital Memory Box is the place where you can easily and effectively store. Sorry, I'm trying to get closer to my microphone. I really need to dial in on these numbers, and it's sorry. So it's the easiest and most effective way for students to be able to consolidate their information that ultimately will be relevant for their applications. So whether it be projects like Lee's presenting today, their athletic talent, their artistic talent, their other community involvement, their best work, like their papers, etc. And Lee, if you wouldn't mind just bringing up your Lifestream digital memory box again, just so we can show them the basic features. Great, thank you. So if you can select one of the projects, I think the Stronger Together had like a variety of things. Basically, you can save any digital media here in your digital memories box, whether it be audio files, video files, Word documents, Excel, PowerPoint, even code can be saved in Lifestream. And the idea is to have kids save things over time, as Lee does with her students. So Lee has her students start saving and then maintain it over time. Now, this is Lee's digital memory box. So Lee has her students' information in there. But each of her students has their own digital memory box in which they're keeping not only the projects that they do here, but their writing assignments that they did really well in, or their athletic videos and artistic talent and other things that they've done throughout their high school career. Then so you can see how Lifestream organizes the digital media. So it's easily accessed and reviewed by yourself, as well as obviously your students, because your value as an IEC is in helping those students tell that story. The students can upload and identify this information. That's second nature to these digital natives. So Lee kind of works in tandem with her kids. The kids upload their digital media and the information, and Lee then helps them with the descriptions and the tags and et cetera for the things that they ultimately want to share with their colleges. Okay, so Lee, do you mind if we show them the portfolio feature for a second? Or so if you go back on your to your digital memory box, just go into the main box. You've got your pen going.
I got my pen going. I need to unannotate. I got fancy and then I lost it. Okay.
Oh, I see. You were circling everything. Yes, thank you. So circling the purpose and the attribute tags. I love it. I love it. Thank you. So if you notice up in Lee's digital memory box, she's in there when she is ready to share things. You can privately share some or all of the digital memory box by hitting that create portfolio button up in the upper right hand corner. Yep, your portfolio button. Done with your students. And then here's where you can select out either the entire project, or by selecting it the way Lee's doing now, or Lee, click into one of your projects that you didn't select. Now you can deselect anything that you don't want to send. So let's say for whatever reason you don't want to send the press release, right? So you can select or deselect different pieces of digital media. So you want to just click done because I don't want to take up too much of everybody's time. And basically now just for note's sake, we're not going to, you want to select some of the Beyond the Bay, whatever you want to do, Lee.
Yep.
Okay. So we can deselect a few things. Just okay, and then click done. Okay, now we're not going to select the Wear It campaign just for the moment. And if you click preview the portfolio up in the upper right hand corner, we're not, yep.
Here?
Yep. No. Click
Sorry.
preview, that's okay.
I have my face over the preview button, I think.
Yeah.
I was becoming the preview. Okay, so I'm going to go to portfolios.
But yeah, you can add a new portfolio from there, which will take you to the memory box. Okay, there you go. So now just select a few again, just randomly.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can preview it. Just say you. Okay. This way, when you select it, you'll see that only the ones that you selected are in your portfolio. So it just goes, and so hit Save Portfolio. And give it a name. And so the portfolio is created that quickly and easily. And you can create, as a student can create or a person can create as many digital portfolios as they need, because they may need different ones depending on where they're applying. And you can select as much or as little as you want to put into a portfolio. But what's really nice is when the, so then that URL link, can we go into the list of portfolios? Oh, you're creating another one? That's fine. So now that we have two, you can see there's two portfolios and what it looks like to have multiple portfolios there. Now you simply copy the link and then you would paste it into the Common application, the Coalition application, or any online application. And the platform is called Lifestream Digital Memory Box. The website is lifestreamdigital.com. Sorry, I just saw the question pop in as far as what platform this is. And so you just copy the link, you paste it into the Common application, the Coalition application, and the online application. So Lee, can you just copy the link and then paste it in your browser? One or the other, whichever link you want. You're muted. We can't hear you. So copy, go back into your, yeah, there we go. All right, so this, remember, this is the first portfolio that Lee had created. So click on one of the memories. There we go. And so you can see the memory looks just like it does in the digital memory box. It only includes what you included. But this way, there's no toggling back and forth for the admission professional. And if you can go back, like go to the main.
The real one?
Nope, this is right here. Nope, go back to the portfolio, sorry. The main area of the portfolio, there you go. Thank you. So you'll see the categories, you know, it's categorically listed as a benefit, it's not only to the user, but it's to the admission professional, because we know they don't have a lot of time. And the athletic director, if there's athletics in here, now we didn't select any athletics. So notice athletics isn't in here. Well, that's because we didn't select any. So there's not this big gap. If a student isn't an athlete, that's fine. But if they are, they can have their athletic videos in there. If they're an artist, the same thing. So the bottom line is that it's very quick and easy for an admission professional to view. And as Lee said, if it gives the student 5 more minutes with the admission professional or whoever is reviewing their application, that 5 more minutes is golden, because we all know they spend an average of 7 in total on an application unless they're engaged in the application. So what Lifestream helps them do is show more about and more depth about the applicant and more about who they are and what they can do beyond their grades and test scores, which has been so critical now that with this COVID year, and it's going to be critical going into next year. And I can't tell you how many admission professionals have said this has not only helped with, figuring out who to accept, but scholarships as well, because it really helps them figure out not only who they should be accepting, but who they really want at the school, because it gives them a sense of the person and more depth. It gives depth to their applicants. So I was trying to keep it as short as I can, but I'm happy to answer any other questions.
And you've got a ton of questions here. I think it's important. We might not get out to all of these because they're coming in, they're streaming in. Yes, but there are a lot of questions. So it's really important, everybody. What's the link again?
So it's lifestreamdigital.com. I'll actually put the link again in the chat.
Okay.
Can you see it here?
Lifestreamdigital.com. And they can reach you at ann@lifestreamdigital.com. And there's the information,
Perfect.
everyone.
Thank you so much. Yes, and I'm happy to do a demo for any of you. As far as the cost, we've kept it affordable for families. If you want the family to directly purchase it, it starts at $19.95 a year for a family. Now, I do work with many consultants where if you are buying it on behalf of all of your students, depending on the number of students you have and things, there may be things that I can still do with certain costs. Athletes at the $19.95 is for like a 2 gigabyte. Athletes, I usually recommend like 5 gigabytes or 10, because depending on how much video, it really depends on how much video and heavy media a student has. So, but you can easily purchase a bigger box if it's necessary. But the functionality we've kept the same. It's just the size, based on the quantity of media that you need to keep in there. Because any digital media format really can fit into Lifestream. Kids are doing so much.
We did a demo last spring, and Ann came on and talked to our kids, and I announced to them that, I was providing this for any of them who were interested. And we quickly got the kids who wanted to use it and pulled that in. And I saved that video so that kids that came in later could still then go and see what we had talked about. But it's been really neat, and our more creative kids just absolutely love it, especially my artists. They've got so much stuff in here. I have to like pick through, but they do it themselves. I don't spend a lot of time with this. Once they watch the video and they know how to do it, they just say, Lee, should I connect my digital memory box? They never ask me to go over it. Just my artist did, but other than that, it's just great because they upload it into their into the Common App or wherever. And I love
and the Coalition app, there's a question here, Lee, about the Coalition app locker. And the locker is just so limited. It really doesn't help as everyone has heard before, a picture's worth 1,000 words. But the problem is with things like the locker and other things that are out there, kids will upload the media or they'll upload the piece, and then it's up to the admission professional to assume what's important about that picture or about that, whatever it is that they upload, that video that they uploaded, rather than being able to tell their story, throughout their application and having these pieces tie into their application, which is what Lifestream does. It helps them tie all of this together. And with the help of an IEC like yourselves, you help them, you have this baseline. If you have your students, especially, we try to tell students, start live streaming in 9th grade, because then you have the information. And, I started out in 2017 with the beta. As many of you may have seen me at IECA, because IECA helped me kick this off. So I say kudos to the IECA team. They enabled me to come to IECA to get some of my beta testers. So I thank all of you who did that. And then in 2018, when we launched it more formally, it was just, a great way as kids came on, and they've had it since, their freshman or sophomore. year, by the time they get to their application, they have most of their activities section readily available, and you've worked on it with them, and they have, you know, the information that they might need to help with their essay. Now, they don't have the essay written and they don't have the interview done, but you guys can help them with that. But they have the information that can give you, you know, that is readily available so they can figure out what they might want to write about. Because to Lee's point in the beginning, you know, unless you have this information readily available, you have to try to remember it. And so many of us spend so much time just trying to call out of the kids, okay, tell me what you did freshman year, tell me what you did sophomore year, tell me what you enjoy the most. Well, what if you have this, you have a lot of that information, that baseline to work with, so then you can really focus on the story and focus on, you know, bringing that child to life and that applicant to life so that they can get accepted to the colleges they're applying. And then the kids get to keep it after, they get to keep it after they apply. You know, a lot of other things disappear after their senior year. This doesn't disappear. They have this, and it becomes a digital repository, which has been great for families that have kept it beyond senior year. They really like to be able to kind of look back in a nostalgic way. So that's always a nice plus. I know it's not a focus for an IEC, but it's just a nice added value.
I'm reading some of these questions, and where do we put it in? So I absorb the cost of this because I think it's important to have. Not all the kids use it, but the ones who do, it's a nice little added benefit that I offer to the kids. It says here, does this duplicate what's in the activity section? To me, I think it brings it to life, because in 150 characters, I can help the students say, I collected $16,000 worth of equipment, sports equipment to give to underprivileged youth, right? But by showing them, if they click on the link, now they see him by this box. They see that it's a real charity. They see what he's collected, and it becomes live. Here's the thing. Does every college look at it? I don't know. But what I do know is that we are running full speed into the digital age. And I feel like I give my kids an edge. So for those that do look and will look now, it's a plus. I say it's throwing pennies on their side of the scale, but there's no way that we aren't going digital as we, you know, chip forward in life. So I'm kind of, I feel like I'm ahead of the curve. So I kind of like that I'm bringing that to the table for the kids. So those are some, and it says, wouldn't this signal privilege on the part of the applicant? I don't think so. I mean, it's $19 a year and it's part of my package. And so I don't know, but you know what? Some of my kids are privileged and they're not going to be ashamed about it. You know, that's just who they are, but I give it to everybody. And I think it really, I don't know, picture's worth 1,000 words.
And honestly, I work with many, many underserved communities. They're one of my primary users because of all that's done outside of their grades and test scores. I have a young man who is in kind of Harlem area, works with students just on a Saturday, or was. I mean, this is kind of more pre-COVID and does a little bit differently during COVID time period. But he just got accepted to a lot, all of his schools, and well, he's still waiting on two. I shouldn't say that. It's not a formalized activity. It's just something he did on Saturdays in his neighborhood because he felt it was important to have something for the students that, you know, were around, for the kids that were around him. They were just, you know, and he didn't even realize to put that into his activity section because it wasn't formal. So I work with, you know, kids that are part of the Bronx Initiative, for example, or Summer on the Hill program. So this by no means does that signify necessarily that you're, you know, privileged in any way, because it's not meant for just certain audiences. This is meant for everyone. And whether it's paid for through a sponsorship like it is for many underserved communities, or whether it's paid for by any of you, or, you know, it's something that's meant for all students. And we've worked really hard to price it so that all students can take advantage of it and have the opportunity to put their best foot forward when they're applying to these schools. I'm sorry, I'm really, really passionate about that part of it.
Kidding. Me too. Okay, we are at an hour and 10 minutes. I could talk about this stuff forever. We've lost half our audience, but the half that's still here, sounds like you're still interested. I think we need to cut it off. And I would say, please get in touch with Anne. She did a great job with my kids when we presented it, and we'll probably present it again this year. I am full of ideas and willing to, talk to any of you guys if you have an idea or wondering how to implement it. So I guess that's it. Mo, what do you think?
Yeah, I just want to really say thank you to everyone, you and Anne. Fantastic presentations. Thank you. Everyone really appreciates it from the comments I'm seeing. And with the numbers we had, it was really fantastic and it was very valuable. And everyone has the contact information for Anne, and we'll try to answer those questions. I know there's just still questions coming in. Nice comments too. Thank you. But some really nice questions about, what you were talking about, Lee. So we'll try to get to those, right?
And thank you, Lee, for having me on. This is really, I appreciate it. And Emily, thank you so much for helping to manage all these questions. So thank you.
Yep, a rising tide lifts all ships. So everybody have a good night. I'm going to stay on with Mo. I'm going to stop recording. And I just want to thank everybody for being here. That was really cool. And thanks for taking the time change in stride. Stuck in
Yes,
Florida.
thank you.
Sorry about that.
All right, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. I'm going to stop recording. Boom.